responsibility to try to change the situation. And the problem is so monumental. I mean, we're not talking about something which you just turn around and say, go away and it's gone. I mean, you're talking about something that is so gross that people can point to the Prophet Muhammad's grave and say, but there is that structure over the grave. Now Prophet Muhammad had told Ali to go, and every single image that he found, image of a human being or an animal, he should deface it, break it. And every grave that he found which is a handspan above the ground, he should level it with the ground. And he prohibited the building of structures over graves. But today, if you go in a Muslim graveyard, it looks like everybody else's graveyard. You know, tombstones and things built over the grave and all this stuff. So much so, when I was in Egypt, I visited the graveyards in Egypt. I'd heard about them. So I went to visit the graveyards in Egypt and Cairo. And the graveyards, they drive in there, you think you're in a city. They're houses. I mean, literally houses. You can stand up inside of them, so much so that the poor people, there's a housing shortage in Cairo. The poor people have broken into these things and set up homes. They're cooking and sleeping, they plot beds in. And of course the government can't even, they have no option to tell people, okay, get out of here and go. No, they have nothing else to give them. So what they've done, they've blocked in water. They piped in water for them. People are living in the graves now. Some have built second stories on top of the graves. Egypt. Here's the Prophet Muhammad said, tomorrow, the graves of the ground.
These are graves of Muslims?
Yes. Egypt is Muslim. 80% Muslim.
It could happen, it might be a good idea, and maybe you being a writer, a author, maybe those who do the same business, writing, can possibly draw the line, as you said, between respect for those who have acquired greatness in Islam and worshipping the grave. That should be clearly identified and the line should be drawn. So that those of us coming now, the new generation, can understand that they are not to be worshipped, not at all in keeping with the Sunnah of the truth.
Alhamdulillah, I've written a book called The Fundamentals of Tawheed. And, I've given some copies to Brother Fazil, and inshallah he will try to facilitate the bringing in of more copies to make it available to your community. And it touches these issues. It speaks specifically on these issues. It explains the situation of Medina, how it came to be, because it was not according to the wish of the Prophet Muhammad. And people did it. And it's an error which should be corrected.
Brother, I appreciate very much the way you played Fatiha. But there was one very important point I'd like to ask you. When you mentioned making new in Islam, it's haram. How about something new for Islam? For the propagation of Islam?
New in Islam,
like let's say new principles, right? We can alone anything other than the cycle of Islam, principle of Islam. How about something new for the propagation of Islam?
the method and the way of propagating Islam has been given to us by Prophet Muhammad. We may bring new means in the sense of the material world. We're using the video now, we may use the audio cassette recorder which wasn't around. These are new things that we can use for the propagation of Islam. But now for you to introduce something new in the teachings of Islam for the purpose of spreading Islam, you have now stepped on Islam.
For the propagation of Islam. Anything new for the propagation of Islam.
Anything new
for the propagation of Islam.
Anything new in the religion of Islam,
for the propagation, and for the propagation of Islam.
just try to understand what I'm saying, brother. New in the religion of Islam for the propagation of Islam is prohibited. If it's new outside of the religion of Islam for the propagation of Islam, okay, no problem. If you want to, develop something, the computer program, which will help you to understand the Quran better, putting tafsir on, disc, or laser discs or whatever, so that people can now go with the computer and study the Quran more in depth, get the tafsir, compile the hadith on computer. This is something new.
For the propagation.
For the outside of Islam, for the propagation of Islam.
I don't understand it.
Huh?
I don't understand it.
You don't understand it?
No, let me talk to you. I think they have a little. What do you mean? For instance, when our forefathers came from India, most of them were Hindus and Muslims, were indigenous people. And they came here as inventor leaders. Very few were educated. But those few who were smart, they brought with them, there's a book they call it Milad Husband Consider, the people who will read. Now, the people came here in order to lead the workers and not the workers cleanly. So in order to get the people together, those people who knew what they did of to do and knew to sing a little bit, they used to invite these people every Saturday, just to gather them together, to get them to come back to the ways of society. Because they were pressures country, they were actually divided. So those testimony among them had to get them together. And many of them never used to even read. On a book, they used to listen ahead what they knew. And like this, the people would start together and come together. And they started with the namaz and the zakat and sunnah. So this thing was a means made by the youth to get the people together in this country, to partner with them. There's anything wrong with that.
Islam does not prohibit sinning. And to sing is not something new in Islam. To sing about good things, about Islam, about praises of Allah, etc., the prophets, etc. There's nothing wrong with that. This is not something new in Islam. We're not using anything new here. So there's no problem. It's still, what we're looking at is whether you've introduced something new in the religion of Islam for the propagation of Islam. Because that which is new in the religion of Islam is prohibited. Prophet ﷺ said it's rejected. Because once you start to argue that we can introduce something new in Islam for the propagation of Islam, then what you are saying, can I finish, brother? Can I finish? You explain what you said. What you are in fact saying then is that the end justifies the means. This means has been prohibited. Prophet ﷺ said whoever adds anything to the religion is rejected. So now you are saying, I got this end which is protecting Islam. I'm going to add something new in Islam to protect Islam. It's for Islam, Since it's for Islam, it's in Islam, but it's for Islam, so it's okay. No. If it is in Islam, it is rejected because the ends do not justify the means. This is the way of the kuffar.